Now I'm going to add the bottom of the picture frame, and given what I just discovered as I was adding the top of the picture frame, I realized that this repeating image must go in the very back so that the two non-repeating images have layer in front of it. Otherwise we won't be able to see those other two images. So it doesn't really matter to me whether I put the bottom.jpg first or not. I'm going to put it here because it will be easier to see when I make my mistake. So here's my bottom image, bottom, and it is also not going to be repeating, and then I'll add my comma at the end. So now let's see what this looks like. Save, refresh. Not what I wanted, right? I want this to be at the actual bottom, not at the top of my file. So it looks like I need to add its position, right? And usually I list things in the order color, image, repeat, attachment, and position. So it would go after the repeat here. So instead of defaulting to left top, I want it to default to left bottom. Okay, save and refresh. Beautiful. Now that I've done that, I can clean up the padding here or the margin. I'm going to right click to see what I might want to do here and inspect, just to remind myself what I was doing. So this is an H1. There is its margin up at the top there. And I can click it. Let me drag the window in so we can see more of the CSS. It's got some margins set up at the top here, but only in the normalized CSS. So if I wanted to affect this, I could do that. What I really want to do is affect this particular area. So the H1 is a little bit general. This ID, this container ID is a little bit more specific. So I think I would like to adjust this space at the top of this container. It doesn't really matter if I do margin or padding. Visually it's the same. I think I'll choose padding. Well, I can show you both. Let's just add a little bit of margin to the top. 100 px, that's plenty. So that would be that. And if I mouse over container, you can see it's orange. If instead I used, this is the space outside of the container box. If I decided I wanted this to be padding top instead of margin top, we'll be able to tell the difference in the inspector, but functionally it's going to be about the same. So now it's green instead of orange because it's space inside the box. So you can see there is a slight difference, but nobody would ever be able to tell the difference just by looking at the finished page. So up here, kind of the same thing. There's the end of my container. You can see that my container content goes all the way to the bottom of the screen, and I would like to give some space down here. Whether I do that with margin or padding to the container, it doesn't really matter. Continuing, so if I use padding, the only thing I would say is maybe try to keep it consistent. If you're using padding in one place, if at all possible, try to keep it consistent in the other place. Oh, I just said padding top again and I meant bottom. Bottom. So adding padding to the bottom gives me this result. So now you can see the green area at the bottom is pushing that text content up into the picture frame. Again, I could use margin for this. It doesn't matter visually in this case. In some cases it will matter, but in this case it doesn't. There's a slight difference because of some defaults set in normalize, but that's it. So now it's orange. So it doesn't matter which you choose, but keep it consistent. I used padding on the left and right already, so I think I would be more inclined to use padding on the bottom and top as well. 100 pixels in each case, it looks like. Let's try it out. This is on the container div because it will give me an opportunity to remind you what the shortcut for padding and margin is. So if I say padding bottom is 100 pixels and then padding top is also 100 pixels. So this lets me remind you that there's a couple different ways that I could simplify this because now I have 4 different rules for padding. So if I want to do it all in one line, I could say padding colon, and then it starts at the top and then it goes around clockwise. So I could say 100 px space, now I do the right, then I do the bottom, and then I do the left. There's a lot of 100 pixels here, so it's pretty easy. So this is one way I could do it. Another option, because these are all 100 pixels except for the 175, this single 75 pixel one. So this is way one. I'm going to leave them all here so you can see them all after each other, but you really only need one of these methods. I could set a general rule for padding, and then I could set a more specific rule just for the one on the right. So you only need to do one of these things, either this or this or this. They just all happen to be doing the same thing. So this is how abbreviate in one line. So you could do it that way, or set a general padding and then override for a specific padding. So these are just all ways to make your code a little bit more readable and more easy to manage. Okay, let's go on to the review exercise.